Welcome to No Nonsense Nonprofits. Hi, I'm Sandy Ray, founder of Sandra E. Ray CPA, where we alleviate financial headaches so that you can create a bigger impact. Today, we're going to talk about what is next when working with your nonprofit accountant or CPA. We've talked about the needs that require you to have an accountant or CPA. And we've talked about what to look for when finding an accountant or CPA for your organization. So now that you've found your nonprofit accountant, what's next? Well, one thing I want to say before we get started is that while I'm going to be talking about a nonprofit accountant or a certified public accountant or CPA, I'm going to use CPA and kind of use those interchangeably. There are a couple things we're going to talk about today that are strictly for CPAs, and I will make a point to mention that. But to be clear, a certified public accountant is licensed in your state, and potentially there is a license requirement for them to be in your state as well. Some states let license come from one state to another. Other states require them to at least register in your state. So let's move forward. The role of the CPA depends upon your needs. Some functions require that your accountant be what we call independent. And independence is when your accountant is free from any obligation or interest in your organization or its management. Now let me give you some examples of what independence of the CPA really means. This person is not going to have a financial interest in the organization, nor are any of their related parties, such as family members. For example, I cannot perform any independent functions for an organization where my spouse or my children or siblings are employees. They have a financial obligation, so that impairs my independence. I can also not, as an independent CPA, have custody of assets, which means maybe sometimes when we're performing services, we need an escrow account and we need funds deposited into those escrow accounts, for example, like payroll, or maybe they're housing your computer bank for you, so they're doing some hosting services for you. Those things cannot be performed by an independent CPA. And then finally, an independent CPA cannot make decisions on behalf of the organization. And this could be as simple as making a decision about how a financial transaction is going to get coded in the records. So those are things that impair independence. Now, an independent CPA is wonderful and can perform many functions. And this is where I'm talking about CPA, a licensed professional. There are a couple of services where you have to have a licensed professional. First and foremost, the thing we always think about is the financial audit. Whether you're under Single Audit Act requirements or not, you may want a financial audit. This could be a requirement from the federal government, your state government. It could be that grantors are asking for it. Either they want the grant period audited, or maybe they want an audit report with their grant application. And then finally, your board may just want to have a financial audit as part of their oversight procedures. All of these have to be performed by an independent CPA. Another service that an independent CPA can provide is a financial review. Now, this is a report on your financial statements that provides limited assurance that your financial statements fairly represent the financial transactions of the organization, your position, and what happened during the year. There's no testing like in an audit. It is simply an analysis that they perform on the financial information that you provide them, and then they put that into a report format. Now, there are a few things that an independent CPA can do, and a non-independent CPA can do these as well. But by performing these functions, it will not impair independence for the CPA or keep them from performing the audit or review function for you. Now, These types of functions are things like making recommendations for your investment class allocations based on your organization's risk tolerance. They can do things like comparative analysis to industry benchmarks, and they can prepare compliance reports, for example, your 990. Now, those are all things that an independent CPA can do. A non-independent CPA can pretty much do everything else. The only thing they cannot do is an audit or a review, which requires independence. Both of these CPAs, independent and non-independent, are important to your organization. They improve your donor and grantor confidence in your financial due diligence. They assist you with completing your compliance requirements, and they can provide you with expertise to all financial matters. When you're working with an independent CPA, you can generally expect that you'll have some fairly intensive interactions with them, probably once a year. And that's going to happen while they're performing the audit, doing a review, maybe preparing the 990. But once that service is over, you're going to have very little contact with them. On the opposite side of that spectrum is your non-independent CPA. Your interaction with them is really going to depend on the services that they perform. If they're performing ongoing bookkeeping and accounting services for you, your interaction with them could be as much as daily. More like weekly, monthly, quarterly, just really depends on what service they're providing and the level of activity. They are going to make sure that your financials are in compliance with generally accepted accounting principles, GAAP. They're going to give you guidance on complex transaction posting. They're going to be analyzing your internal benchmarks, such as how are you doing with your budget and with industry standards. And then they're going to provide you with timely and accurate financial reporting. Other functions that they can do outside of the monthly bookkeeping and accounting services is a compliance report. Either monthly or annually or quarterly, you can have your CPA prepare a compilation report that says that we have taken this information and we have put it in a format that is in compliance with generally accepted accounting principles. They can assist you with the preparation of your financial and compliance audits. So they can help you get ready for that audit. And of course, they can prepare your 990 and all of your other compliance reports, such as 1099s, state compliance reports, that kind of thing. Most importantly, a non-independent CPA can make decisions regarding the financial data in your organization. That's a big difference between independent and non-independent. They can help you design and they can oversee an efficient internal control system so that your operations are running smoothly and as safely as you can with the accepted risk tolerance. They can provide you with timely and accurate financial reports so that you and your board can make decisions. And most importantly, they give you your time back so that you can spend your time on your mission and not coding transactions or writing checks or preparing reports. Finally, I want to talk about the ethical responsibilities of your CPA. All CPAs, whether independent or non-independent, have a code of conduct which we must follow. The first ethical responsibility is the responsibility to exercise sensitive, professional, and moral judgment. The second is to act in a way that serves the public interest. The third is to perform all responsibilities with the highest sense of integrity. The fourth is to remain free from conflict of interest. Now, this is different than independence. This generally has to do with looking at clients and saying, if I make a judgment call for one client versus another, if the one client will benefit, will the other client be hurt by that? So we want to make sure that we are not putting ourselves in that kind of situation. So we have to remain free from conflict of interest. And we need to exercise due care in the execution of our technical and ethical standards. So those are our 5 ethical responsibilities. So knowing what to expect from your nonprofit accountant or your CPA depends really on 3 things. Do you need independence from your CPA? What services are they providing for you? And knowing that they have an ethical responsibility to your organization and to the public in general. I want to thank you for joining me today. And remember, creating a bigger impact starts with stopping the nonsense. If you're dealing with nonsense in your nonprofit organization, we'd love to help you cut through the noise.